these broadcasts, but hopefully you are hearing me loud and clear. If not, we will be on any second. I'm just waiting for confirmation, but there's always a delay for me as well. Yeah, I think we're live. Hello, everybody. Right, so tonight we are talking bladed iron. So, like these kids, this is the Callaway latest bladed iron, which I've done reviews of. That's the Apex MB. You can see for anyone, most of you know what a bladed iron is, I'm sure. So we're getting very thin top lines, no kind of real help around the back. It's just a thin sliver of metal. Obviously not every company, but most companies make their version. This is an MP18, which is a variation on a theme of the bladed, so you get a slight cavity in this, but all sense and purposes there's next to no help in this. And obviously you've got the MP18 as well behind me, which is pure blade. And then we get something which in the same ilk here. This is the Titleist MB. So very, very bladey. Maybe one of the, I can get it in the right place, there we go, maybe one of the thinnest looking blades I've reviewed out of all the blades. So we're going to talk blades. So thin slivers of metals up against, let's say, something like M2. We're going to take it to the other end of the spectrum, Taylormade M2. You've got a cavity in here, so a big hole carved out the back. It's undercut as well, so basically you've got gapping where the weight is off the face on this one. So it gets hollow down in there. Obviously M2 has slots of clock everywhere as well, but that's a slightly different point. And then obviously you've got loads of companies make these kind of clubs. Ping probably maybe the most famous to start it back in the day. This is a JPX 900, same ideas, weight off the face. So it's pulled off the face, it's packed down low, and there's a slight cutaway in here as well, again, to move it away from that face. So lots of talk and reoccurring comments I'm getting on my YouTube videos at the moment, because I'm talking about, well, obviously lots of blades have been released recently, how they help you and don't help you compared to a really big cavity back, which also helps you and doesn't help you. And obviously the cavity back ones are labelled as game improvement, and I think I said in a recent video, a brilliant comment came through in one of my videos where the guy said they shouldn't be called game improvement, they should just be called distance improvements, because we're definitely not seeing a movement in handicaps, are we? So how much they're actually helping people, again, I see comments where I think people are getting kind of misled by actually what is helping or not, which we're going to talk about more tonight. So we've got everyone commenting in the chat. Thanks for watching. We've got loads of watchers. Wow, loads of watchers. We've got far more watchers than we have thumbs up. So before we continue, come on, you can't have that many watchers and only 84 thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button, people, right now before we start. It doesn't. You're staying on the video. Just click down there on the thumbs up video. If you're on an iPhone or on a device, you can just flip it up so it's not full screen. So it's a little bit. Hit that thumbs up. Come on, hit it for me. YouTube, like it. Now, we had a really good question at the start. So this guy was in early in the room. It was Soren Bak Patterson from Denmark. Hello, bra. Is bladed irons easier to shape than cavity back irons? Regards from Denmark. So I'm going to kick off with Soren's question before we go into the points I want to make tonight, because it's a great question. So are cavity back, or did he say blades there? Which way around was he saying it? How are bladed irons easier to shape than cavity back, which is the common question. And I've tried to tackle this a little bit in my reviews of bladed irons and kind of those, if you watch any of my loads of bladed irons released recently. Now, when it comes to tilting the spin axis, so when it comes to, if I've got this ball here, oh God, just picked one up with my face on, and that's embarrassing. And let's say the chrome soft writing on this ball here. Let's say I'm hitting a shot and you want to get this ball back spinning but on a tilted axis. That's what's shaping it left and right. That is a face the path measurement strike being taken out of the equation. It's to send a decent strike, a centre of gravity strike on all cases, unless stated otherwise. face the path open or closed by a degree or 2 degrees is going to make no difference with a bladed iron to a chunky iron. I can get the face equally as open or closed to the path with both of those 2 irons, which means then I can shape the ball, in my opinion, and I've done tests on it on videos, exactly the same amount. Now, things to bear in mind where this gets complicated and muddy and a little bit more confusing. If it's a 4 iron, which this one is, this is a 4 and a 5 iron, so basically these are both 4 irons because of the lofting of the club, so really the lofts of these are probably very, very similar without checking. I'm going to struggle to launch this 4 iron, so get the ball in the air. So if I'm struggling to get the ball up in the air, to hit a shot that might go a little lower for me, a draw, get a face closed to a path for me, which can de-loft, doesn't have to, but can, and often does for me, I would probably be better at it with the ball club that might pop up in the air a bit quicker. So this one. So you could argue, and it's a loose argument, because obviously with all the dynamic lofts and what have you, whatever we deliver is all open because I'm not hitting these clubs in front of you. If I can pop the 5 iron, the cavity back, the game improvement more up in the air, then when you start reducing loft, you might find it's fractionally easier to shape purely because I'm more confident because it's going to go in the air. But again, you're working in my game, my kind of tendencies, those kind of things. But just if a robot was hitting them, or there's enough loft for me not to adjust anything, no difference in shaping. Left to right, right to left, those kind of things, draws and fades. Now the only thing with shaping with a bladed iron is I might lose a top end, so I might not be able to get it as high over a tree as a game improvement iron. So I feel I can hit them both as low as each other because again dynamic loft. But I feel the cavity back one, I might be able to, just pop it a little bit more up in the air to get a fraction more top end height. So that you could find a little bit more gaming in that, possibly. Shaping, like which I think you're thinking draws and fades, no real difference. Let's see, hit the like button. Joel Young's peoples, yes, absolutely. That's a better amount of likes. There's still more watchers than likes, so there are people watching who haven't hit the thumbs up button. Hit that thumbs up button now if you're watching and you haven't already hit it. Steve Treby is asking, how is Coach getting on with his new blades? Well, you will watch the latest Spain extravaganza that we've just done, where we played 18, we actually played 19 courses in 4 or 5 days. We didn't play all the courses, 19 different holes, 19 different courses, all around the Andalusia area. Videos coming soon, you'll see. I think he's going to enjoy the distance control with them in the long run, and that's the main reason why he's gone for them. So let's talk about spin, because I'm seeing lots of people getting confused with this. So I want to put this out there. Let's get these 2 clubs out again. So 5 iron Taylormade, Callaway 4 iron. Let's pretend, for all intents and purposes, these are the same delivered dynamic loft. Let's just pretend they are. So when I hit these 2, get the same dynamic loft. So we get the same spin, even though one says 5 and one says 4 on the bottom. And I get similar peak heights and land angles, la-di-da-di-da. Lots of people saying, well, surely if you're saying that the 7 iron is strong, it doesn't really matter. You can just use the 8 iron and that'll be the 7 iron, which basically is true. They're right. So you're not, if I'm hitting a 7 iron that's spinning low, or a 6 iron, say, that's spinning low compared to a bladed 7 iron, I can just hit the, you know, the lesser club in the one that's spinning low and getting more distance to then get the same spin because of the changes in the lofts. That's true. Now, there's a couple of points which people aren't thinking about with this. One is when you get to your extreme ends of clubs, where do you go? So I don't want my 9 iron spinning any less because I've run out, or my wedge, say, I've run out of clubs, I've got nowhere to go. I'm then into specialised wedges, they need to sink, and then the same the other end. I don't want my 5 iron dropping loads of spin off and being like a 4 iron because that's, I've kind of got nowhere to go after that. I'm going in again into specialised clubs. So I buy a set of clubs and then I also have to buy wedges and different hybrids to fit in. So I have to now buy a whole new batch of clubs if I'm changing, say, from blades to cavity back. So that's one point. The next point, which people totally aren't thinking about, let's pretend with both of these clubs that I hit the ball in the exact same spot above the center marked groove on this face. So let's say the geometric center of both of these clubs. Let's pretend I'm hitting, say, 8 millimeters higher. My GC quad would measure my strike on the face than the center line, not where the CG, anything like that, just where the geometric center of both of these clubs are. Let's bear in mind, let's, for argument's sake, the center of gravity on the cavity back iron is going to be considerably lower than the center of gravity on the bladed iron. That's why you're pulling spin off, because they're pulling it down and off the face. That's going to reduce spin, gives you high launch and lower spinning clubs, that gives you these massive long balls, which sells clubs on launch modelers. Now, both shots hit 8 millimeters above that center line. Which one is going to react more to reducing spin, do you think? Let the comments try and come through. It's quite a complex question. I've asked it, you know, I've like really strung that one out a little bit. So 8 millimeters above the geometric center of both of these clubs, one with a center of gravity very low, one more with a mid center of gravity. Which one is going to be affected by that higher strike more? So which one is going to reduce the spin off more? Let's see. Pedro, I can't play with premier weight clubs. I love the consistency of my Titleist MBs. Like what? I can't see any video. Okay, who's operating the drone right now? That's a different. Just joined the live. Sup, brah? Michael. Hello, Michael. I've asked a question, Michael. Waiting for MP18 fitting on Friday. Hoping it makes it in. The MBs make it in. I imagine the game improvement. There we go. 730 spins less. Everyone's liking it for locking. The blade, the Taylormade ping blade, the blade. So the blade. Some people saying the blade, some saying the cavity backs. It's kind of mixed. Basically, the higher you get above the center of gravity with your strike, the more it's going to pull spin off your shot. Bearing in mind the center of gravity on the M2 is always going to be really low. That's how they're getting this extra distance. It's not hot faces, and I'm not just picking them. It could be the Mizuno, equally the same. It's not hot faces as they all try to say. It's where that center of gravity is and then where you strike in relationship to it. So if I hit with this Mizuno above 8 millimeters above that center line, it's going to be spinning considerably less because I'm further away than the center of gravity if 8 millimeters above the center line on this one where the center of gravity is in the mid area. So this is where your knuckleballs come from. The scenario is you're in semi-rough, not a bad lie. Bit of dew on the ball, so you're losing some friction on the face as well. And you hit it slightly high on the face because it's set up on the grass. That is then where your bladed club will go further as well. It'll be a flyer as such to a certain extent, but there's a good chance the cavity back will go further than it should go than the bladed iron because it will react to that low spin because you're so far above the center of gravity, which will pull it right down. That's one of the big points that people aren't really quite understanding, I'm finding in lots of the comments, which I think is really an interesting, is it an absolute term or relative for the lower CG club? Oh, I've lost it. Lost connection with Mevo. Connect again. You might be finding you losing me in a second. I'm trying to reconnect. Right, I don't know if you can still hear me. If you can, let me know. My camera is just bugging out. I think we're back. Hello, we're back. That's going to make the broadcast a little bit funny when people play this back because there's going to be loads of dropping off there. So again, we got more watchers, 800 or so, or nearly 1,000 watchers, only 600 likes. If you've not already hit the like button, hit that like button. Do you golf in the rain, Eric James? I try not to. Still the man, you're there, still there. Cool. Where are all the likes? Absolutely. Wow, the chat is going a bit quicker than I can actually read. So for me, my experience with the bladed irons now, which I've used for almost a year and a half, maybe longer, over the cavity backs, which I used maybe for a year as well, is that I was finding it much harder to control the distance with the cavity backs compared to the blades. where the blades, I find it very, very easy to control the distance. It feels much more all on me, and I'm not relying on any of those horrible knuckleball kind of disasters, certainly that we saw Lockie hitting over a lot of the videos. Now, I'm not saying that this is for everyone. I'm just trying to say that maybe it's something you should think about when you're going into your purchasing and you're going for your custom fits. Just don't write them off on handicap. That would be a big mistake for me. You know, depending on your strike and your speeds and what you want. You've got to remember there's always a trade-off in golf clubs, no matter which ones you go for. Where you might gain consistency on some kind of distances with the blades, you're going to lose launch. And you might lose a bit of peak height, which is exactly where these clubs come into their own. And then you're finding if distance isn't, your controlling distance isn't your main criteria when it comes to trying clubs, you find that, you know, there's lots of golfers I teach and have taught through the years who don't carry a full set because they hit the 6 iron the same distance as the 5 iron and they hit the 8 iron the same distance as the 7 iron, so they only carry a few clubs. This is where these things might come into their own, but trying to justify it purely by distance, because that's the last point I want to leave you on tonight. People, I'm still seeing loads of comments, and I've really trying hard to break this down. I don't know why it's taking so long. I don't know if there's other people, or I guess the marketing misleads a bit as well. Hitting a 7 iron that goes the distance of a bladed 6 iron, okay, isn't easier because it's a 7 iron. If you're delivering the same dynamic loft, which is often the case, which is then giving you that extra distance. So you've got a strong 7 iron, you know, muscle back club, doesn't matter what manufacturer, could be this Mizuno, could be a Titleist, it could be a Callaway, it could be a Taylormade, it could be a Ping. So you've got your muscle back, low spinning long irons, and let's say you're hitting a 7 iron and it goes as far as your other club's 6 iron, okay? If you are delivering the same loft at impact, because this is stronger and the others aren't as strong, just because it's got 7 written on the bottom, it will not be easier to hit straight. It will not be easier to hit target with. It's a complete myth that I'm seeing getting wrong in so many of the comments still. You know, people saying, oh, but it's 7 irons are easier to hit than 6s. It's, if you watch my D-playing videos, and I think I've done one on iron dispersion, it's called, it will just show you exactly how that isn't the case, because there's a thing called D-plane which is just there, and that's basically, to put it in a nutshell, kind of to sum it up, basically as you take loft off, the harder or the easier it is to curve the ball offline, so the harder it is for you to keep it straight. That's for everybody. It's just a fact, a science of the angles that you're applying as you hit the ball. So if you're hitting a 7 iron as far as a 6, but the dynamic lofts are the same, then they will be the same in dispersion, subject to your delivery. That's still something I'm seeing people get just wrong consistently, which I don't think is helping anyone. I see people making some funny choices pure or based on those. Thumbs up the vid. Mark is taking time for us. Pretty Falcon, thank you. Totally makes sense. Jonah Link, thanks Jonah. Dave Rock Knuckleball. Due to the low spin and science, think I'm going to invent a low lofted cavity back cricket bat. Okay. The comments are always fun. We're going to finish on a few comments because I need to go and sit down. I had a long day. I hope you all watched the daily blog earlier and enjoyed it. Complete your backswing ideas. It was quite a good fun one to... Would you to film? Here we go. Steve is saying, would you favour dispersion to feel? Well, dispersion is me. So dispersion is not the club. Dispersion is going to be me, 99.9%. That's another one that I literally do not understand. And I've seen manufacturers say it, and certainly I've seen other reviewers say it, and I've seen comments say it, that they disperse one iron better than the other. I mean, I'd just love to see that retested another day or a couple of times, because I think you'll find it just spins around. You control dispersion left and right. Dispersion short and long, different story. That kind of comes back to what I've been saying with the bladed controlling distance to cavity backs. But often when people are talking dispersion, they're simply talking left and right, and that one blows my blooming socks off, because that is you. Mark, are you going to change your irons? Anything you have in mind? Possibly, yeah. Watch this space. Off towards the vlog now, Adam. Wait, thanks, Adam. What about the forgiveness of GI Irons V Blade? Bob Pearson. Now, again, that is a very interesting question, Bob. One that I should do another video on. I've done one in the past and I should do more, and we'll do some lives maybe on the results. But as people might know, I struggle to test if big cavity back iron is kind of more forgiving than the bladed. And I always think if I'm struggling to test it, then that means it's a very, very small difference. But I need to do better tests to confirm that. But I've done some. So that's an interesting question, and one I think is touted for the sales purchases, but I'm not sure how true it is. What is the favourite blade of 2017, Les Burns? There's lots, really, Les. They've all been nice. I've got some videos comparing some soon, so maybe watch out that. Speed My Socks, David Reed. Speed Socks make all the ball go further, etc. from Squizzy Bollocks. Not only is that a funny comment, he's got a ridiculous screen name. What about the matte interaction? Don't hear the manufacturers mention it. Your name's gone. Totally agree. That's one of those other things. Nate Gage has just said hashtag Lockie Army. Thanks, Nate. Great stuff. Where's the love for the Strixon blade? Sean Carter. Sean's got love for the Strixon blade. It's a great iron. You mean that one? I've got it just there. It'll be included in compares as well. Hopefully, if I get the time. It is a very good blade, a very well made and nice feeling club. Could game them all day long. There we go. Thank you for watching. Hope that helps. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. I think I might have said that already. I am going to try and do plenty more lives with Dan in his studio testing and other ideas as well. I like these evening chats. with you. I feel like we're connecting, even though it does all go a little bit quick for me to keep up. Sorry for the little glitch in the middle, but when you do lives, there's always going to be glitches because they are a little bit hard to do on my shoestring kind of office budget. Thanks for watching. Comment down below. I'll keep reading the comments as they come in. If you're watching this on playback, hit the thumbs up button if you're watching this on playback. If you don't subscribe to the channel already, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you do, don't hit it again because that'll unsubscribe you. So if you do that, hit it again. Like that could go on forever, couldn't it? And then make sure you got that little bell icon illuminated as well. Then you get notifications on things like when I go live and all those kinds of things. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening, everyone. I'm very tired now. It's been a long day. See you tomorrow. More daily vlogs coming at you tomorrow, and course vlog starting tomorrow with Dan Hendrickson, Sophie Walker, coach, and myself. It's a crazy set of holes over the next 4 days. It's a funny one, and I am not feeling very well in it because it's filmed back in when we just got back from Vegas and I wasn't quite right. It's a funny one. Thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow.